Hi, I'm Erik Aasland. Let's see. I'll have it. There it is. Okay. I am teach anthropology and research methods here at Fuller Seminary. The same year that Heidi was in Edinburgh, I moved with my family to Kazakhstan and was there till 2011. And it was kind of after we came back to the US and we experienced kind of this networked reality that I got interested in digital media and have kind of moved from folklore and added to my proverb research in terms of doing work in digital anthropology. Okay, I agree with a whole lot of what Heidi shares. And so what I want to do is kind of approach memes from a different approach, kind of looking at more as a folklorist. I've entitled this a Discourse Modes Approach to Understanding Memes in Our Multi-Religious World. So I've already kind of covered that. So I want to cover actually 4 different questions. How do memes operate? What modes of communication do memes utilize? Does the internet provide space to respond to memes? And how can we effectively address stereotypes? Kind of how should we live is the 4th point. So memes are classified with a very broad category called performatives. And with performatives, and this can be like a proverb used in conversation, we take something and we adapt it. So with memes, we're taking pictures and photos from kind of lived experience, things we can grab from the internet, and we're crafting it to design the meme. We appropriate it. The thing crafted is crafted for an audience. And we'll look at kind of the difference in dynamics with an in-person proverb encounter and a meme. And the audience can take what they hear, read, and adapt it to their context. So if you come across a meme, you can modify it. You can do something else based on that. It's also true with other things that you would get from a performative, such as a joke. You can retell a joke. You can kind of modify a joke or do with a proverb. Here's a graphic of a proverb encounter. Son comes home reporting how he is the best student in his class, and his mother replies with a traditional Kazakh proverb to try to put him in his place, wants to bring about a very clear kind of change in his response. This is actually a proverb encounter that students in Kazakhstan designed for me. And when I was doing my dissertation field research, I gave them different proverbs, and they had the opportunity to do a skit based on this. So I had actually 2 male students act out the role of mother and son in this encounter. Here is what the mother said in the skit. Kazakhs say, the crow will not become a falcon by bragging. The donkey will not become a steed by bragging. Remember this eternally. So it says lots of things to reinforce what she wants to say. She has the weight of tradition. Her authority comes from the point of tradition. Some folklorists will even say that the person using the proverb almost kind of disappears from view because the proverb becomes so dominant in the encounter. The meaning she's trying to portray is quite clear. It's very univocal. Okay, if we look at how a meme works, it's kind of the reverse process. So the meme goes forth from the crafter, gains vernacular authority based on how wide and diffuse the resulting distribution is. Interestingly enough, we can look at proverb performance, we can look at meme crafting, and in both cases, the actual author or the adapter, the appropriator of this piece of folklore becomes less visible. In the case of the meme creator, it's very difficult to figure out who crafted this. Where did this come from? And so, but as it goes forth, it increases in terms of vernacular authority based on distribution. And here's a sample meme. My mom's saying video games cause violence. And the cat there, me taking care of my puppies in Nintendogs. So I was talking with my kids. They were so happy that I was researching memes. Like, memes are really great. It's really a great topic, Dad. It's really more interesting than proverbs. What the meme Means angry mom yelling at the cat has the following structure. Accusing mom is to oblivious cat, or accusing mom : oblivious cat. If you think about in the kind of analogy quizzes. 2 photos have been appropriated. And as Heidi pointed out, there's an intertextual relationship. They come from somewhere, they have a tradition either outside of meme practice, in kind of other lived experience, or in stories or film. But we take the photos, they can be appropriated, and any combination of different characters can be swapped out. The contrast between proverb and meme. Well, okay, even if they're, within a broad classification of performatives, the crafter who's working on the meme is preparing something from a multitude of audiences. It doesn't have like an audience of one. The crafter is anonymous and can take on fictitious roles. So Black says this is one of the huge issues with internet, is you don't have an idea many times who you're interacting with, who they are. They can take on different kind of personas. And the meme is ambivalent. It can have different meanings. It can be seen in different ways. It's not univocal necessarily, although some of the ones, you can make a pretty good case for them being more univocal, but often not so much. So what modes of communications are in use here? So if we looked at Aristotle and his rhetoric, and he talks about 3 different things that we use in argumentation. We use reason, we use emotion, we use values. So we use logos, pathos, and ethos. If we go to Paul Hebert looking at different aspects of culture, he talks about worldview, and this equates with kind of reason, how we reason through things, behaviors, which is similar to emotions, and beliefs, which is really ethos and values that we have. This is an update and research I'm currently doing, looking at 3 different modes of communication: proposition, narrative, and wisdom. It follows Aristotle's logos, pathos, and ethos. So proposition is statements, and we can determine the truth value of it, so they're verifiable, and they're univocal. It has a clear meaning. This is what it means. Wisdom also is univocal. It's appropriating tradition. So use of a proverb would be that. Use of stories can be used in the same way. And the narrative is multivocal. It can mean different things. And it's based on experience. Heidi talked about lived religion. And so we kind of see the connection here between the idea of experience. And the thing with experience is it gives you standing. If somebody shares their testimony, you listen to it and you give it consideration. If you state a proposition, people can counter with a counter proposition, but you share a testimony, it has its own standing. I was teaching in a freshman class at Azusa Pacific University, and they trained us up in how to evaluate different arguments. And we're working on our first class. I met with the students, and I said, okay, you read the first article. What did you find most convincing? And it had different reports on studies that had been done, clear evidence, and then it had some kind of vignettes of experience and testimonials. And they said, oh, the real solid stuff is the testimonials. And in the critical reasoning training, they had said, now the real solid stuff is the evidence, and the other stuff is fluff. So some of the things we're dealing with are generational differences in terms of priorities and how we communicate, but memes fit in this middle area of narrative primarily. Okay. Using my proposed model, we can say that memes are primarily narrative. Campbell comments on an emphasis on experience and lived experience. Meaning can range from comedic to parody to mocking. It's not enough to simply say biased or stereotypes, but Heidi did a great job of presenting the case that there are a number that truly are biased and show stereotypes. One of the challenges in the internet is that the different spaces in the internet are not the same. So in the internet, and the research by Danny Miller and his group, they looked at what he called scalable sociality. And this means that on the internet, you can go from the most private conversations with just one other person to the most public conversations. You can go from the smallest group to the largest possible group. And so there's issues of space and what kind of space do we have on the internet. This is just a visual from research on 11 to 18-year-olds, students in England, and the different kinds of platforms they used that went from Snapchat to WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And they looked at how in each case they had different sizes of groups with which they were interacting until you get to like Instagram and things where you distribute a meme and it goes out everywhere. You almost lose kind of the sense of sociality or group that's there. An issue and being able to interact with memes and about memes becomes problematic because of how they're distributed. Okay, one of the huge challenges with memes is categorization. And in some cases, we may not even currently have the category for it. When I was living in Kazakhstan, they released the Borat movie, and citizens of Kazakhstan became very alarmed because they said, well, this movie is an attack on our society. And I tried to explain to them that the actor who did the movie was famous for making fun of his viewers and making fun of experts and Americans. And we would categorize it, or you can find the category mockumentary, but the category did not exist for people in Kazakhstan generally at the time, and so they had no way to really react to it or fit it into their reality. Okay, just a couple comments where I talk about action steps. I would agree with Goodekins and a lot of different communication theorists who would say it's impossible to be stereotype free. And what we can do is we can have our stereotypes, the categories we use, be informed and more nuanced through experience. I look at Rich Slimbach's work on being transcultural and the importance in our current age of being able to reach across cultures and societies as a skill set that we need. And I would conclude about looking at kind of what order to do things in or what the response should look like. I would say, well, we're dealing with memes and they're experience-based, and the best response is to focus on experience. I would love to see churches reaching out to Muslim neighbors, showing hospitality, and utilizing something like Slimbach's life history guides to spark conversations. And I've done that with some local churches in the Pasadena area. I would like to see churches making commitments and having it as a value statement that they value reaching out to Muslims. And I think on the basis of kind of those things, doing those things to reach out and to live out reaching across and reaching out to others, we can encourage a constructive engagement online to address stereotypes. But we can do that on the basis of living transformed lives. And we can generate content and photos of people of different faiths getting along. And that's the transformation I like to see and what I think would be the most constructive engagement with the memes that Heidi described. Thanks.